Hello, bridge builders! I'm here with some exciting news. The first volume of interviews is now available on Amazon.com. The link can be found at EatLunchandBoardGame.com. I promise that all proceeds from sales of this book will go right back into this podcast and channel. Whether that is new and better audio equipment for the podcast or video equipment for the YouTube channel, or even more games to review, the money will not be wasted. Click over to Amazon and get your copy of Eat Lunch and Board Game The First Course today. And thank you for supporting the show. All right, welcome back to Eat Lunch and Board Game. I'm your host, Adam Collins. And with me today is the founder of Pied Raven Games, Jesse Daniels. Jesse, how you doing?
Good. How you doing? Thanks so much for having me.
Well, we've only been trying to get this together for about 4 months or so.
Yeah, I'm so glad the stars aligned and we could be here together.
It was crazy.
Yeah, a lot of back and forth emails, but we made it happen.
Yeah, a lot of, no, that doesn't work. How about this? No, that doesn't work either. Hey, I'm going to be out of town for a week. I'll call you when I get back. Hey, how about now? No. But we finally got it. We finally got it. So Pied Raven Games, and you wrote a book called Make Your Own Board Game, Designing, Building, and Playing an Original Tabletop Game. And as I do, I randomly get on the library website, just type in board game and see what happens. And your book popped up, and I'm like, well, I know I haven't read that one before. So I requested it, and it is a fun little, I mean, not little, it's a pretty good sized book, but it's a fun way to kind of walk through board game design, what it is, what to think about. It combines a lot of much deeper books at a very approachable level, and I really enjoyed it. My son ran off with it. I had to make sure I had it for the interview tonight. But it's a good book. How did you come up with this idea?
Yeah, I guess I just felt like there were, like you said, I think that like there's a lot of complex books out there, and this information is really helpful when you're talking about like board games and you're getting into this world of board games, like the idea of mechanics and kind of figuring out which ones you like the most, almost, which ones you want to kind of go for. So I think like I was trying to convey it all in maybe just like an easier to digest format, potentially for a younger audience, but I think it is helpful for like really all ages. Yeah, I was just really excited about the idea of making a board game book. I was just approached actually about it, which was like kind of like also magical stars aligning, because it was due to making Hibernation my first game. I worked really hard on that and put that out and got out in the market, and it did pretty well and won like an award. But that actually led to the book because this company just reached out to me because Hibernation was in the newspaper. So this publishing company reaches out and they say, "Hey, you interested in making a book about board games?" And I said, "Absolutely. Let me write you up a." I was like, "Oh my goodness, this is a dream come true." I think they just had the idea that like this is a good idea and we need to jump on it and let's look for someone who might have this potential. And they saw the article, and thankfully they reached out, and it was amazing.
Yeah, that's amazing. That is an amazing story. I do have to do a quick shout out to Joe Slack, who is on the quote on the back cover.
Yeah,
Joe's an incredible guy. Does all kinds of stuff in the board game industry. His book, it says right here, author of the Board Game Designer's Guide, one of my favorite books. But Joe is quite the guy. So if you like Joe Slack, he approves this book. So now you know, between Joe and me, that should be enough. Go get it.
Yeah, I really appreciate that he was able to do that because my company reached out to him, and and I really appreciate that because I was looking out for names, and I was like, oh, that'd be awesome if I got Joe Slack to get a recommendation. He's got some books out there, and he's always doing things in the community. So yeah, I was really excited to get that.
Yeah, he's a good guy. So you do have a game out called Hibernation, and it is exactly what it sounds like. You are playing as a bear, and you're trying to basically eat and hibernate.
That's it. In a
There's a lot
nutshell.
going on, but
Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. It's just it's exactly like you said. It's all about bears specifically, but yeah, they're working towards hibernation and just getting fat essentially, putting on those pounds, and
and we
trying to be.
just missed Fat Bear Week, so
Yeah, exactly. That's kind of a semi inspiration to this. I kind of learned about it on the way to making this game, actually. So, like, I had already had the idea, but then, like, someone told me about this. Like, have you not heard about this? I was like, oh, whoa, oh my gosh, this is very fitting.
no, I literally just learned about Fat Bear Week a couple weeks ago. I was sitting at the library at a different non-board gaming event, so that was weird. But I was at the library, and this one was there saying, "Yeah, her husband is up in Alaska trying to get pictures of the fattest bear because it's Fat Bear Week," and I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" It's a real thing, and so then I was like, then I remembered your game. And I was like, well, I mean, you are playing a bear trying to eat your way into sleep, basically. So I do that very well. Eat till I fall asleep. So Hibernation, I have a copy, and man, like, there's something about your take on it's like a hand management deck builder, but with a twist, with a spin, and that's what makes it so interesting is the fact that it doesn't play like a regular deck builder. It's not Dominion. It's not like Flamme Rouge where you have like a set of cards and you play one and then it's out of the game. I mean, you have to make your decisions, and you're also trying to wait out everybody else, right? You're trying to wait out everybody else so that they hibernate first. And it's a really complex game with a very basic game with complex rules on top of it. I think is probably the best way I can put it. My coworkers and I loved it. We've played it a few times, but yeah, I mean, what a fun game to play.
Thank you so much. Yeah, yeah, like simple and complex is I think is a good way to put it. Kind of, I was really trying to make something that could be picked up by kind of anyone, and almost like a gateway uh, deck building game. Like, but also it can grow in complexity, and it can really you can take all these great strategies in it once you start to learn about the different ways to build the deck and to be most efficient with it, and to, like you said, the resting, it's about like, oh yeah, do I wait for someone else to rest or do I rest? And you're kind of hoping that someone else will do it, and you're holding out and trying to draw and more until potentially you just run out of deck, and maybe like even spending that energy to buy more cards instead of resting because you want to just try to make something else happen. And oh, I know that person will rest soon, I'm just going to do something else.
Yeah.
So it's interesting that the dichotomy of like the interaction between players, they added kind of a little spice there that I thought is sometimes missing. Like I have the thief card too, but sometimes not everyone wants to play with that aspect, and so I like that this is like it's optional, and this is kind of something that is built into the game. The idea of the resting and kind of forcing someone else to do that so everyone can refresh their cards and get their deck back, because that's the big difference there from a lot of deck builders, is that you don't just automatically get your deck back when you exhaust it. You have to choose to do so through this resting action.
Yeah, and so you try to exhaust your deck slowly,
Right.
but methodically, because you want to exhaust your deck at the right time so somebody else rests so you get your deck back and not have to like miss out a couple key buys, because that's where it's at, is those key moments where you can do a really good bam 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 and gain a couple points and gems.
Exactly. Yeah, and once you get really your deck really built up too, it's nice because you don't have to rely upon that rest anymore. You can get it to the point where you're doing so many actions in one turn that you're gathering up stuff, you're eating it, you're resting, you're doing everything you need to in one turn. So that way, you can kind of help to nullify the thief card too. That's a kind of a way around it. I feel like if you built up your deck efficiently enough, you don't really have to worry about that so much because you can kind of cash in on your hoard there, which is the hoard of food that you collect, and people can take it from you if you're not careful. So
Oh yeah, yeah. It's so, yeah. I mean, it's a lot of fun. It's available on your website, which I believe is PiedRavenGames.com.
PiedRaven.com.
PiedRaven.com.
Yep.
Don't put the games in there. Should have got PiedRaven.games. That would really just mess with people. So, Jesse, how did you get into gaming?
You know, I've been into games since I was really young. Honestly, I've just always loved games. Playing like board games with families and stuff. With family, with other families too. Sure, yeah, with family. Playing Scrabble, we played a lot, and just like silly little board games growing up, of course. And you know, everyone plays Monopoly. But a big one was when I went to summer camp, and everyone played like Magic the Gathering, and so like people were like, you know, collecting the cards, and you know, if you didn't have any, some people were kind of, you know, cool enough to kind of just give you a couple here and there, and you collect a couple from everyone and end up with like this little crummy deck that you could play through the summer with it, you know. So it was really fun to like start there and really build my focus into that like collectible card game realm. I really do love, and just like the cards as a component in general, you know, I really love those. Being able to use those, just like holding a hand of cards. I know it's like a fun way of playing for me. So I've just kind of like been playing with design ideas since I was a kid too. Honestly, just like making up my own little card games. You know, making up like house rules to Pokemon, or you know, and just trying to like collect all the weird collectible card games I saw wherever I could. I even had that really out there Steve Jackson Battle Cards game. I don't know if you ever heard of that one. It was like really
with battle cards.
No, it was really early on, and I got it at a flea market, and you know, maybe because it didn't sell well, and I got a whole box of them, like, you know, for cheap. But
some guy's like, sucker.
Yeah, right. This isn't even a good game. No, it was, you know, Steve Jackson's early stuff, and it was still fun. It was just like, it was really unique, honestly, and it was like disposable, and I think that was the big difference and made it difficult. Honestly, you scratch the cards. You would like scratch these little components on the cards to show if you like got an attack in or if you're bleeding. It was really a unique idea, but it was like, oh man, you got to throw this card away after. like you got to spend a lot of money on this game.
I can see that not being what people want to do.
No, and there's like crazy lore built in. It was like way too much like weird lore. It was like, this is like really reaching really, really far.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, battle cards, man, that's hilarious.
Yeah, and actually it didn't even like know all the rules either, because it didn't come with it. This was like, you know, back in the day when the internet was young, and I couldn't find this thing anywhere, so I just like made up some rules to it. Me and my brother would play it, and you know, kind of again beginning the whole designing aspect.
There's nothing wrong with that.
No, make it work.
Got a deck of cards, just make it up.
Yeah.
Kind of how my son used to play Pokemon until he finally learned how to play. I took him to the game shop when they did a like how to play Pokemon. So I'm like, hey, why don't we go do this?
Yeah, like, oh, this is how you play.
Yeah. I mean, he made up his own rules. Kind of inspired a game design I'm working on. I haven't really touched it too much, but you know, his idea for Pokemon, of course, is not at all what Pokemon is. But it's a good game idea, mechanics. So we kind of got a game on the side. We're kind of toying with every now and then. But that's funny though, nice. Man. Oh man, you don't even have you have all these cards and no rules. Like,
yeah, well, that's yeah. Let's figure it out. Yeah, homebrew rules are, you know, sometimes really fun.
That's awesome. So, what is your current favorite game? If I made it out to Washington, what game would you have sitting out on the table?
Yeah, Washington, Mass. That is.
Yeah.
But I'm actually currently in Littleton, Mass. Now that's where I used to be. But yeah, honestly, my favorite current game is probably Seven Wonders Duel. Because, like, you know, it's just something that I can play with my wife at home, and we can kind of just like easily just, and it doesn't take that long, I feel like, and but it is like kind of, it's very strategic actually. Sometimes we get like, like, oh
Well,
man,
I'm
like which
terrible.
one do I choose?
Yeah, I'm awful at the game.
Yeah, it could be really hard.
I only win if you accidentally screw up bad enough and leave me an opening.
Yeah, right. Like somehow you get that military victory, just sneak it by, or
Yeah.
like,
Oops.
yeah. No, yeah, that's a really fun one. I've been really enjoying.
It's a solid game. I haven't played with any of the
Yeah.
expansions. I don't own the game. My friend does, and so I play with him. And he doesn't have any of the expansions, but I hear those expansions are pretty good too.
Oh, I should check that out. Yeah, and it's great because just like I love Seven Wonders as well, the
Oh,
original. But like it's a whole different game. It's not just like this knockoff game. It's like it's a very unique concept.
yeah,
It's awesome.
I
But like
totally
also
agree.
based on the original game. It's well done. It's well done.
I totally agree. It's you get the feel of Seven Wonders,
Mm.
but only with 2-player, and it does it. It feels like the original, but it's a completely different game.
Yeah, just
Like,
really.
wow,
Yeah, I
Antoine
was
Bauza.
impressed.
Geez, how do
They
because
got a
yeah,
lot of awards for it, so
he's got a couple.
yeah.
So let's get this nasty question out of the way. How do you pronounce Klaus Teuber's classic, The Settlers of?
Catan.
Yeah, okay. Well,
That's how I usually go with it. I believe that's how he pronounces it.
it is.
Yeah, okay. So I'll stick with his pronunciation.
Yeah, yeah, me too. Some people don't.
Oh yeah, no, it's a good contentious question.
It certainly is. It certainly is. But back in the day, they used to have a shirt for sale that said it's pronounced, and it just had the words, no pronunciation on it or
Oh, that's
anything.
great. Yeah.
And so I made myself that shirt, printed it off at the local t-shirt shop, and I wear it to board game events all the time. People, it's hysterical because there's no accents, there's
Right,
nothing.
it's not telling you anything. Yeah,
No.
yeah. It's however you pronounce it, I guess.
Yeah, and I'm like, you can pronounce it correctly or incorrectly. It's up to you.
Yeah, it's fine. I'm gonna
So
get too
during your
upset.
day job, do you board game with your coworkers?
It's too bad we don't get too many opportunities to do so. I'm like a video editor in my day job, and so it's kind of it's this production setting where things could be happening, sometimes spontaneously or really staggered throughout the day. These people might be on a production here, and as a video editor, it's separate kind of schedule from everyone else. So it's interesting. It's kind of tough to line up lunches, but we have done some after work gaming, which has been cool. I was able to introduce everyone to some Hibernation and played some other games as well. It's been fun.
Did you use them to play test your game, or was it already done?
No, it was after it was done, yeah, and yeah, some people like weren't super familiar with board gaming, but then like some that were. Actually, this one guy was really into Magic the Gathering. Once again, to mention, he like really got into it because like all the combos and stuff. He was really excited about the drawing extra cards and playing everything, all these things, and getting more choices each turn. Yeah, so that was fun.
Yeah, I mean, coworkers are great for play testing, but they're also good to just play games. I play with mine every day that we can.
Yeah.
Something got in the way today, something will be in the way tomorrow. And then Thursday, Friday, a lot of us are out, so we only played one game so far this week at work. But we played Hibernation a couple days at least.
Awesome.
Because it plays, you can clear it in 40 minutes or less, probably.
Yeah. Especially once you get like used to the game, you can start like making your actions much more like rapid. Kind of, you just get used to like what the moves you might make and things like that.
I think we played with 3 players and 4 players a couple times. I don't think we ever got above 4.
Okay, yeah, because the one set will give you up to 5 players.
Yeah,
and then if you just get more boxes, you can get more players. Really, essentially, it works well.
Shovel that whole deck together.
Yeah, I've played it with 10 people. It was wild. It takes a little while for your turn to come around sometimes if people are like familiar. But once everyone gets really engaged, it got pretty crazy.
So if you did play games with your coworkers, what would be your go-to 60-minute full lunch hour game?
There's some good kind of shorter games I like to play. That are just like especially easier during a lunch hour or something. I'm kind of leaning on Coup. It's kind of just an easy go-to. I mean, it's even quicker than an hour, but if you get
Oh
people
yeah.
into it, they can love just like, playing over and over and wanting to get better at it. Or Flux is even just a good, simple, kind of fun game to play. Star Flux is what we kind of usually go to. And The Game, actually, I'm not sure if you're familiar with that one. Just a good like number game. It's cool.
Uh,
It's simple, but it's actually kind of addicting, and you want to like do better each time.
it's like like The Game and The Mind. Those two games.
Yeah,
Those are some
yeah,
fun ones.
yeah. Sometimes all it takes is just like one little good idea, and you can build it into this whole game that becomes just you want to do better, and it's addictive. And
That's what happens whenever we play like The Game or The Mind. It's always like, oh no, shuffle back. We can do better. We can do better.
yeah, yeah.
What's the
Run
other?
it back.
Hanabi. Hanabi's the same way. It's like, no, we can do better. Come on.
One more
So,
time.
how about a hidden gem game? A game that you don't feel gets enough credit or attention.
Um, it's funny. This one I
Other than
found.
obviously battle cards.
Yeah, yeah, right. Of course, Steve Jackson's battle cards. Look that up. You got to find it on eBay. No, actually, this is so funny. I found this game at Marshalls for like $2. Have you ever heard of it? It was just like kept getting marked down. People are passing it up because it is weird. Groundhog Day. Yeah, literally based on the movie. But
What?
yeah. So it's a super wacky. It's like a weird concept to begin with, but I feel like they pulled it off so well. It's funny, and it's one of those things that you want to kind of like do over and over and do better. Like, which is essentially the movie. Like you're like do the day over and over, and I love the movie, so maybe that kind of is it's what got me. Maybe also, but I feel like it's just like this funny little gem.
I mean, it's hard to turn down a $2.
Yeah, exactly.
Game.
Yeah, I see it on the shelf. I'm like, yeah, absolutely.
Unbelievable. It's by Funko Games, which makes sense. They do a lot of those.
Yeah, those movie type games are thematic.
Oh my gosh! I'll see if maybe my Marshalls has it for $2.
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
It was during the holiday season too, I think. So of course they got all those gifts and they're marketing them. They're like, please just buy them.
We bought a crate of these things.
Yeah, we bought too many.
Oh my gosh! So when playing a game that has colors, what color do you tend to pick?
I think I go blue generally. I think blue's just always been my color I lean on. Always been a big Mega Man fan, so I think that's a big part of it, maybe. But I change it up sometimes too. I'll go for the red or the brown.
I don't. Yeah,
if it offers brown, yeah, maybe that's Catan sometimes. Maybe it's a certain version.
Yeah.
Yellow, orange, maybe. Change it up.
So let's get crunchy. How about Kickstarter? Do you get involved in Kickstarter?
Yeah, I love to when I can. I just I think I fell off a little bit, but I was really into it before. I just think I've just been busy, things in life, of course, but I really want to get back into it too. It's just super fun to see all these projects. I've backed some games. I've backed some like enamel pins and comic books and all sorts of like funny things. It's just great to like see someone's idea and like they really bring it to fruition and give you all these reasons and these backer advances and things like that. I think it's great. As a creator, I tried Hibernation on there, but I tried it early on, and I think I just didn't know enough about it. It was still earlier. The game scene has really risen so much in past decade, even 20 years. So it's
been
just
even
like
crazier since the COVID.
Yeah, exactly. I think it just keeps blowing up, which is awesome. So I think maybe I just didn't know enough about it, and there wasn't as much information out there. But there's plethoras of information now, and I think I'd go in with a more educated concept of how to do it, and try to build up the audience a little more ahead of time. I think I was just trying to like get the game made and get it going, and like I ended up getting it made through Indiegogo, which is awesome, and I raised like most of the funding that way. And then used, the rest was my funding and just kind of made it happen. So yeah, that was just like a fun ride, kind of just figuring it all out by myself, just doing, communicating with Panda Games Manufacturing. I went through them, through Vancouver, and they go through China. So that was good with the the costs and everything like that. I try to do USA in the future. I don't, but it's hard. Yeah, it's so costly. It's so costly. If I was going to do like small bundles or something, I don't know. But like it's if you want to do a bunch, you kind of got to go overseas and get the better prices.
Yeah. So you said before we started recording, which by the way took a couple attempts because apparently your microphone turned off and then my headphones turned off and then we got back on.
Yeah, I think Loki was in the system.
Yeah.
Some gremlins.
Just definitely not wanting us to do this, even once we got the stars to align.
Yeah.
That you're currently working on a new project. Is it one you think you'll take to Kickstarter?
Yeah, I'd like to. I'd like to get to some conventions and really get some eyes on it, and get some people seeing the art concept behind it. I've really worked on. I've worked with some artists, and they did the designs, like everything, the assets for the card. So I'm working on this like collectible card game. Essentially, it's hard to say like a collectible card game because competing with all these giants out there. But it would be more of like a game you could buy a set of. You can buy a deck. 2 decks, like a dueling game, and then you could keep advancing it. You could change the deck if you wanted to. You could also just like keep it as a set and play that way. So you could customize it. Is the idea I have. And so working on the assets and getting the art design, and the game plays really smoothly. It's super fun, really engaging, just like fast paced, and but like a lot of great strategy and choices and. So I'm really excited about it. I just really got to get it out there. And yeah, Between Realms, this card game I'm working on next. So hopefully I'll be out there in some conventions soon.
There's a lot of conventions over there on the East Coast.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, up and down the coast for sure. Even, I have a buddy in Texas. I'd love to get out to some conventions out that way. Have a place to stay.
Oh yeah, anything to cut the cost of travel and the convention down, go for it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, I hear it, and believe me, I hear that. I'm going to a convention in a couple weeks here. It's about a 90-minute drive. It's like right on the cusp of like, do I get a hotel room or not? It's 90 minutes.
Right. I could do that each day. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's only 2 days. It's only Saturday and Sunday. And I'm like, so if I get up and drive Saturday morning, set the booth up, do I really want to go a whole day and then drive back?
Right. Yeah. It can be surprising if you haven't done the running a booth. It can, it takes a lot of energy, it's, because you want to be on, and it's exciting, and it's super fun showing everyone and engaging and seeing the reactions. But then it's like, by the end of the day, you're like, oh boy, I'm wiped.
Yeah. And I'm like, but if I get a hotel room, I can bring the son with me. And he can do some of the heavy lifting of selling the games.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. There you go. He can be right there and talking about it. And
he loves to do that.
Oh, that's awesome.
Goodness. Yeah. I take it. So I do a lot of farmers markets with my games.
Oh, awesome.
And if you're not doing that, look into it.
Yeah. Do some markets out in Boston and things like that. It goes super well there too. Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Games everywhere.
So yeah, a couple weekends ago, I took him. And he would just, like, if I was like wandering around or whatever, I had no problem. I had no fear. I'd come back and he'd be like, I sold a couple games when you were gone, and I'd check the sale log, and he did. And
yeah, that's awesome. Yeah.
So he knows the games, he knows the products, and he does a good job selling. And it's always harder for people to say no to a little kid.
Right. Yeah. I think he knows how to play the game, and he gets engaged and excited to talking about it, and it gets you excited. So yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, it's hilarious when you look back and it's like, man, you're killing it, buddy.
Yeah, you're making some sales for me today.
Yeah. I'll keep you around another couple months. Let's keep it up. Oh man, but yeah, he loves to go. So if I would go up to this convention, then I'd get a hotel room and keep him with me, and like I said, let him do some of the selling and some of the heavier lifting. When I get tired, I'd be like, okay, buddy, you're on.
Yeah, he's a good assistant.
Yeah, he is. He really is. But yeah, man, it's cool to go to like those farmers markets and craft fairs and stuff like that. And
absolutely, yeah, and really can network too. You find all these people doing different things that you didn't realize, and yeah, I met guys doing all sorts of cool art and comics and games as well. It's
I've
great.
found a couple artists that I'm like interested in using in one of my next games at farmers markets. But also, I'll tell you, those places though, like that's a whole other what's the word I'm looking for? Like not cult, but it's a whole
Like
other
a
like
community, really. Yeah, it's a
community
whole
of,
yeah.
because they, one of them turned, one of them, I was next to these like high school girls who were selling dog bandanas or something. I'm not kidding.
Right.
But and so I asked them like, well, where else do you go? They told me about this one at a local school, but the school is like, so I'm in St. Louis, and I'm usually either in the city or out in this specific part of the county. But there's a school that has a big craft fair at Christmas right in a spot where I'm never at.
Oh man.
And I'm like, yes, thank you. I mean, that I've never had a booth in that part of town, so I could reach people I've never reached before.
Yeah, that's perfect. Yeah, it's all
And
about that access. Yeah.
yeah, and it's such a tight knit community that will just tell you all the, oh, have you been to this one? Have you been to that one? And I'm
Right.
sitting
You
over
start
there
taking
like,
notes. Yeah,
like,
exactly.
oh,
Get your phone out or whatever.
yeah, I'm texting my son because he's next to me, and I'm like, I'm just texting you these ones we got to look into when we get home.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they're like, some of them are like $15 for a booth, and I'm like,
Right. So affordable. Yeah. And then you're hanging out and then you're supporting some other guy, buying, whatever he made or
I'm
she
usually
made or
supporting
yeah.
the coffee stand.
Yeah, exactly. Or some pie stand or something.
Yeah.
I love the sweets. So
Yeah. I'm usually down at the coffee stand, like, yeah, I'll take a double shot espresso.
yeah, I've got to stand for a while.
I'm tired. What do you got with a whole lot of caffeine? Yeah, that's the guys I do. My son runs off. He usually gets like a snow cone, so he's all jacked up on sugar.
Nice, yeah. Gotta get that energy going.
Well, he's got plenty of it. It's just
that's
add
true.
to it.
Oh yeah, kids do.
But that's awesome. But yeah, man, your book is great. Your game is great. I recommend both of them, especially if you're looking for something like an approachable way to kind of walk you through putting a board game together. Because that's really what this does. Even you have 3 games in the back.
4 customizable games. Yeah, so like they're all essentially like set up for you and try to put like on display different mechanics, all 4 of them, and they go through the age groups too. Like the first one's for the youngest audience, and then it kind of gets more advanced as it goes through. I actually really love that first one. It's one of my favorites too. Duly Noted. It's pretty simple, but it's just funny. Like you're putting the notes on a scale, and you have to fill it in to equal a full measure. You're still using fractions. It's educational too. So.
Yeah, absolutely. So Protospiels, there's some over there by you. Like I think there's a Boston Protospiel or some kind of have you ever been to one of the Protospiels?
No, I've not been to one of those.
Yeah,
write that down.
I'll have to look up what's in your area, but that's a great place to go to play test your games, get feedback. Nice. Yeah, there's a lot here in the Midwest. I started the one in St. Louis. We're going to do our second year in February. Awesome. There's one in Chicago, one in Milwaukee, one in Madison, one in Minnesota somewhere. I'm sorry, Minnesota. Yeah, there's one in Indianapolis.
Oh, that's fantastic. That's a great resource.
And I'm telling you, man, I'll tell you the quote by one of the guys is I was leaving Protospiel Chicago last year. I went again this year. Nice. I was leaving Protospiel last year, and I talked to one of the other designers, and I said, "Did you have a good weekend?" And his response was, "Man, I got more playtesting done this weekend than I've been able to get done in the last month."
That's awesome.
And I'm like, yeah, because I'm also a publisher, and so I signed a game that just kind of needed a little bit of massage to kind of like just smooth out some areas. I think I put it through 6 play tests over the weekend this year and came home and I'm like, it's ready.
Nice.
It's ready to go.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I mean, you can get so much play testing done. And the cool thing is you can go play test other people's games
right.
and see what other ideas are out there.
Yeah, seeing the other ideas too can just help. Like, oh man, that inspires me. Like, I didn't think about doing something this way or that way. Or, all of a sudden it like unlocks something in your head that's like, wait, I see my game differently now. Like,
yes.
It's just yes. Yeah, it's awesome.
Well, so my son came up. So there's always like a bits table over on the side. My son designed an entire dungeon crawler during the
Nice.
weekend. And he had people play test it. He got feedback on it. He's still working hard on it. But it was funny because he made it all out of the bits table over in the corner. So he had a blast.
Oh, that's
But
awesome. Yeah, I love all creative endeavors, really. Yeah, so that's why I loved writing too. You know, it was fun to write the book. I mean, I had never
yeah,
really done that before, so it was an undertaking. But you know, I'd done writing and you know, things like that. But yeah, that was really exciting.
yeah, I'm
um,
working on a book, but who's not, right?
yeah, right.
Yeah, I'm working on a book right now on board gaming. Obviously, I don't know much about anything else anymore. So
Push everything out, all board games.
yeah, like I always say, like I do anything and everything board games, and then by day I work in the construction industry to pay for this board game addiction. So
Yeah.
uh,
Something's gotta, yeah.
yeah, so it's PiedRaven.com. Go check it out. Jesse, how can people reach out to you if they want to?
They could reach out to me at Jesse of Pied Raven on Instagram. You can find me on there. And you could email me at jessetdaniels@gmail.com if you want to reach out. If you've got anything anything you want to say, I'm here to chat, honestly.
Yeah.
I love talking games. And I guess just one more little aspect of the make your own board game, which I was happy that you brought up in the very beginning. Actually, just the idea that it's can be found in a library, and that was something I really pushed for when I was making the book, because they wanted to have designs like pieces that you cut out, or you had perforated boards and stuff, and that if they did that, then it wouldn't be available in a library. And I thought, you know, honestly, that was something that really helped me when I was growing up. You know, having that access to like all these creative books, and like, you know, I used to get all these how to draw books and how to make stuff books, and you know, all these DIY books. So you know, I just wanted to be able to have that accessible.
No, that's great.
Yeah,
it's a great thing. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I haven't cut it up yet. I've photocopied some of it for Edward to use so that he he can use it without cutting up the book.
Right, I figured that's a great way to do. Yeah, there's photocopies out there. You know, people got digital copies; they can print them. You know, taking a photo of it and yourself on your phone. Even, you know, you could draw your own versions of it. You know, all these. It's just kind of a reference.
2023. I mean,
yeah, exactly. There's all these ways. You know, you got 3D printers, and
where there's a will, there's a way.
Exactly. Right? Yeah.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for coming on. I'm glad we finally got around to it.
Me too. This was awesome.
Yeah, this has been great. So like I said, PiedRaven.com, PiedRaven.com. Go check it out. Hibernations, the game, make your own board games, the book. Both of them are totally worth your time. Check your library, and if your library doesn't have it, ask them to get it for you.
Yes.
They will probably do it.
Yeah. Maybe even get Hibernation. You know, sometimes they get games too.
That's right. I know here in St. Louis, I've been helping them build their board game library, and so we've been working on that. So yeah, ask them, maybe they'll get you the game too, but you might just want to get it for yourself.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Get a copy yourself.
Yeah. And as usual, if you want to reach out to me, it's facebook.com/eatlunchandboardgame, eatlunchandboardgame.com, and you can always email me at eatlunchandboardgame@gmail.com. And remember, board games build bridges. When you're gaming, why not be comfy? Go over to supportplayer.org. Click on the cards, pieces, and dice to get some merch. These t-shirts are some of the most comfortable I have ever worn. That's supportplayer.org, and there's a link on eatlunchandboardgame.com.